another winner last night. Phoenix Suns go down big early, but come back in a big way. That's been a theme with them lately. They have been dominating second half of games. They dominated again last night, get us a winner there. On the one bet, but enough to get us some 2 units on the night. Couple of bets already out tonight. If you guys want those, stay tuned. We're going to go through the card. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe below. John, how we doing? Nice couple of winners back-to-back nights and building some momentum heading towards the weekend.
Yeah, the pickings have been slight. By the way, I don't know how I'm coming in, Ben. I'm hearing you just a little on the low side as far as volume. But anyway, so pickings have been slim the last couple of days. But one that looked like a great spot last night was Phoenix Suns playing real good ball. Dallas was going to be – these injuries, guys, you got to pay attention to the injuries. So they had from the day prior, Kyrie questionable, upgraded to probable. Luka was questionable. Luka plays. Then Kyrie goes out. You got to pay attention to these injuries. Yeah. Once we had Kyrie out, now it's Luka against all of a sudden a real big three for Phoenix, and they're starting to play like that. KD had popped in a couple of 40-plus point games, the 2 prior games. Last night, it was Booker's turn to go crazy, and they turned a second quarter double-digit deficit into an absolute blowout by the third quarter. So Phoenix now, that's 7 straight W's for them. And again, we're only going to make bets when the spot is right. Last night was one of those spots that it was right.
Yeah, we had another pretty interesting night in the NBA. Bucks get it done without the coach. Wizards go right on the number. Timberwolves' number has been pretty close lately. Portland on the road, get it done. 10-point dogs take Houston to overtime. And then Golden State, first game back after a little over a week, and they look pretty good. We'll see if that builds. They go tonight. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about that game as well. We'll go ahead and start diving into the slate, guys. Going to try to make these episodes a bit quicker, bit of a faster watch, see how we do on that. Jazz at Washington, top game on the card. This Utah team just gave up a $153 at New Orleans in their last game. Absolutely torched on that game. And then you have then you have Washington, who's on the back-to-back after losing to Minnesota. They're right there within the number there. Backdoor on that one. Just 1-11 their last 12, 4-3-1 against spread their last 8. And this is another one of those meetings that Wizards have played decent in. Wizards winning in Washington last year. We'll see if they can follow that up. This is Wizards or nobody. Utah was playing absolutely lights out. They've fallen off on that stretch. They've now lost 3 straight, 1-2 against the spread. We'll see how they show up for this game here in Washington. These are 2 teams who give up a lot of points, so could only be looking at the over on the total. And it'll be Wizards or nothing here. A lot of points for a home dog. As good as Utah was playing, it's fallen off a little bit, and specifically on the road.
Yep. And Jazz were playing great. 6-game winning streak, but now they've dropped 3. They did cover 1 that was in overtime at Houston. Wizards, just an absolute terrible. Another loss last night. They actually had the lead in that game most of the first half. Fort Minnesota tough in that game. They lose it going down the stretch. A late bucket gets it down to 11. So some guys had gotten 11.5 from the first thing in the morning. But again, right on the number. These games they're really close, right on the number. Wizards in this game, so they're going to be back-to-back. But as Ben said, 2 teams giving up a lot of points. Wizards last in the NBA in points allowed. And as Ben said, I think Pelicans are still scoring on the Jazz right now as they get off the bus going to Washington. But again, too many points here. We'll see if the Wizards are going to rest anybody on a back-to-back. They're scoring a little better, and they're doing a little better. I like this Bagley that they got over from the Pistons. At least he's giving them something. So between him and Gafford, they did a nice little job on these last couple of nights that both of them have played. But Jazz have a couple of big men. Kessler likes to block shots. We'll see how this one comes down. It's Wizards or nothing with all these points if the Wizards are playing everybody in a back-to-back.
Next matchup we have is the 76ers going on into Indiana. Philly obviously coming off that 70-point game from Joel Embiid. They get it done there against the Spurs. Don't cover the number, though. They're 12-7 on the road. When Embiid plays, though, they typically sits out these road games. 10-1, 8-3 against the spread. Their last 11 with him in the game on the road. And then you have this Indiana team who's coming off a tight game against the Nuggets, lands right on the number, close 5, lands 5. And Indiana really playing right within the number. Their last 6 games, they're 1-5 straight up, 2-2 against the spread. So Vegas doing their job with the Pacers right now, right on the number with them. Tough to go either direction in games like that. As far as the matchup history, very high scoring to the over. Pacers, they won the last meeting. 76ers had won the prior 7. Embiid, a couple of high-scoring games against them lately. He's averaging 36 his last few games here against the Pacers. This would be a lean here to Philly for me. They're playing good ball. It's Indiana. They're bottom 3 in points allowed, but also number 1 as far as points allowed in the paint. That is not a good sign when Joel Embiid is coming to town. Giannis has had big games against the Pacers this year, so has Embiid, and the guy just dropped 70. Could be a bit of a letdown, but not a team I want to go against the Sixers here in this spot.
Maybe just a little letdown for Philly. Personal-wise, this is, I would call, a sandwich game for Embiid. Coming off the 70-point game, and who do they got next? Yeah, the other MVP, the 2-time MVP, Jokic. They go to Denver next. So it could be a little bit of a sandwich game over here. Just to show for my Massa Edge members, guys, look at the ratings on this one. This is why these are why we can't make a bet. I've got Philadelphia rated 40.3 on the road. I've got Pacers rated 35.0 at home, 5.3. The line is 5.5 all over. So if I got a 5.3 difference and the line is either 5 or 5.5, depending on your book, it doesn't get any closer than that. Everything else matches up. So like I said, the only difference here, Tobias Harris is a question mark, and DeAndre Melton has been out for a while. He's going to miss at least another week. So if Harris is out, that's a couple of starters. Remember, Philadelphia, the weakest bench in the NBA. Yeah. So if Harris is out, that does make a difference. It would have to lean towards Indiana or nobody, but we'll see on the injuries. And again, this number is right there, so it's a tough one.
Then we got one of the best Eastern Conference rivalries, Celtics going on to Miami. Obviously met multiple times in the playoffs in the last couple of years, including the Eastern Conference Finals last season, which the Heat get it done in 7. Celtics coming off a nice win at Dallas. They've been playing good ball, 5-1, 4-2 against the spread their last 6. Miami, the opposite. They can't score. They've now dropped 4 straight games. You had Terry Rozier come in, try to help out with that. He went 3 for 11 last night in his first game. We'll see if he's any better in night 2 here. And this is against his former team in Boston, and now he's on the other side of the rivalry. So we'll see how he gets up for this matchup. And a lot of under trends across the board, but specifically with the Heat here, they're just not scoring the ball right now, John.
So my Massa Edge members will know what I wrote in the preview, and I says, if the Heat threw the ball off a boat, they couldn't hit water over the last 7 games. And I mean, it's that bad. They've scored over 100 once. They're playing terrible basketball right now. Boston is the best team in the NBA. Look, this game is the reason that you want to be a Massa Edge member. But we love you guys that are joining us here on the podcast. That's great. We bet the Celtics yesterday when DraftKings opened this line at 5.5. This line is presently 7.5 minus 115. That's a 2-point edge, and that's what. Look, there's again the pickings have been slim, but when we make them, we're going to win them, or we're going to beat the line tremendously. This is a 2-point beat on the line, and this was just the wrong number. Again. Celtics, best team in the NBA. Heat can't hit his shot. Rozier comes off the bench. Yeah, you're always going to be that time to try to fit in. It's a bad time because Miami's not fitting in with themselves right now. He was a minus 13 last night. Just a bad spot for Miami, not being able to score and going up against the team. When you top defensive teams, when you top offensive teams, your best team all around. Just watching some movement. So yeah, we're on the Celtics minus 5.5 in what was just absolutely a wrong line, and that line now 7.5 and even actually 7.5 and even 8 in spots.
Then we have this next matchup, Denver at the Knicks. You have this Nuggets team, 5th and final game of a trip here. And you have the Knicks playing good ball still. They get the win and the cover against Brooklyn. Now 10-2, 9-3 against the spread since the trade. Hartenstein didn't play that last game. He's questionable. Obviously want him in. That'd be a little bonus here added with the matchup with Jokic. But Sims and Achua played pretty decent in his place in the minutes in that last game there against the Nets. Obviously, Jokic a bit different than Claxton, but we'll see how this one goes here. As far as the matchup history, Knicks get both last year. Nuggets won the prior 9. Got to be looking at the Knicks here. Last game of a trip here for Denver. And this is another bet, John, that we have a little bit of an edge on.
Yeah, no, this was another one we took yesterday. We took it at +3. It's 2 now. So this is a scheduling matchup bet. And what I mean by that, you're going to catch Denver. This is going to be the 5th and final game of a 10-day trip. Who do they go home to? We just told you. Jokic goes home to play Embiid. Embiid, the MVP from last year, the guy that put 70 on the board. Jokic feels like that's his MVP. They got a little thing going. So I just think last game of a real long road trip with Philly and Embiid next. And Philly just beat them on this particular road trip. So bad spot for Denver that way. Denver's been terrible on the road this year. Now you come into the Knicks. While Denver's been on the road, Knicks, they've been in New York since their last road game, January 13th at Memphis. Now, their last game was at Brooklyn. There's no travel with that. As a matter of fact, the Knicks went to Brooklyn. There were more Knicks fans in the arena than there were Net fans. So a travel-weary team against a team that's been home. Knicks have been great at home. Since the OG trade, I mean, this thing could not have imagined it working out any better. Allowing 100.8 points per game, I believe, in the 12 games since the trade. We took the Knicks +3, and this one is the home dog, and that one's sitting at 2.
We have the Minnesota Timberwolves at Brooklyn. T-Wolves obviously on a back-to-back to get it done at Washington last night. Conley, he's missed a pair of games. He's questionable. And you have this Brooklyn team coming off that loss to the Knicks. They are just playing god-awful right now. 3-16-1 against the spread. Their last 20 games not covering much at all. Cam Johnson, he's questionable. As far as the matchup history, they split 4 meetings last couple of years, each getting it done on the road. This is a little bit of a lean here to Brooklyn, and I don't even want to say that. It can't cover right now. Just a spot a little bit with Minnesota coming off that game last night. They get the win here, and then they go into San Antonio next. So a little bit of a weird traveling spot here for them. It's an easy part of their schedule. These are games they should take care of business in after dropping that game against Charlotte. Just a weird spot in it. So ever so slightly a lean to the Nets in this one, but I don't want to back a team 3-16-1 against the spread their last 20.
Yeah, exactly, Ben. Look, the Nets in the beginning of the year weren't as good as they were playing. And they're not as bad as they're playing right now. There's just too much talent on that squad to be playing this bad, but they are playing that bad. They lose their last game at home, as I said. Knicks come into their building, more Knicks fans, it seems to be, and then they take a tough L and another blown lead. Remember, they blew the last of the trip out in the Clippers when the Clippers finished with a 22-0 run on them. So this team is just literally on their last legs here. I almost waiting for Vaughn to get the pink slip at this point. But with that being said, the numbers suggest Brooklyn as a home dog. I just can't pull the trigger on them. Minnesota, I want to see what's happening with this illness. So Conley now has missed 2 games in a row. Remember a couple of games back, it was Edwards who was questionable up till game time with an illness. He looked better yesterday. But when you see illness go one guy to the next guy, especially on these road trips, they've got to be in the planes together. That's where it happens. So let's see if they're fielding a full squad tonight. Conley, questionable again. We don't know who else may be under the weather for Minnesota or who may be getting a day off on the back end of a back-to-back, and we'll see what the Nets are sending out there. Right now, my line on this game, if everybody's healthy, is 3. The game's sitting at 3.5, so we'll see how that game goes during the course of the day.
Next matchup is Kings at Golden State. Another big part of this rivalry week here in the NBA. You have the Kings coming off a nice win against the Hawks the other night. Sabonis, another big solid game. And Harrison Barnes, 32 out of nowhere. Sack, pretty good on the road. NBA best, 13-7 against the spread. And then you had this Golden State team week off, and they come in last night. They get a nice, easy win also against the Hawks. Kuminga, perfect from the field. Going to be interesting to watch the Warriors see this next stretch, a couple of games. How much did the extra time off? How much did this whole situation bring everyone together? One game, don't want to overreact, so we've got to wait to see. But could this be a bit of a turning point in the Warriors season for them to flip things back around? We'll have to wait and see. And this will be a good test. I mean, this is a team who plays them tough. They've had 2 games with a 1-point differential so far this season. Obviously, the playoff history went 7 games, so as good as a matchup gets here for Golden State, they're going to be emotionally tested in this one. Lean here to Sacramento, but don't know what we're going to get out of Golden State here in this next couple stretch. They did look good last night.
We talked about the games yesterday. There were a couple of teams we wanted to wait and see what we were going to get out of them, and we saw what we got out of Golden State. Looked like the time off did wonders for them. They were pretty much rock bottomed out. And then obviously the death. So you're really hitting rock bottom, the death of the assistant coach. Look, Atlanta is no defensive stalwarts by any means, but they dropped $134 on them, and they shot 56% from the field. That's the Golden State Warriors. That's their recipe. In comes what has been for over a decade, the little brother. Sacramento's the little brother to Golden State. They've bullied them for the better part of a decade. Sacramento trying to get there. But again, Warriors put another nail in the coffin in that 7-game series last year. Now, a couple of close games this year, as Ben said. So Golden State on it back-to-back. But again, they didn't travel. Curry led in minutes just with 31 minutes. It was really more of a cruise game, and they should have fresh legs with that time off. The lean is to Sacramento, but I'm going to say let's see if Golden State thinks that they have another push in them. Let's not put the nail in the coffin just yet. I think they're in demise, and I don't think they're in demise. They are in demise. Can they still fight, or do they even still want to try to fight for that playoff? And a game like tonight will tell us more about it. A lean to Sac, but not ready to bury the Warriors. Just let's see if they got another $134 in them against Sacramento.
And then the last game on this card, Bulls at the Lakers. Bulls, one of the latest victims here against the Suns, blowing big leads, up 21, couldn't hold on. White had a nice night, just shy of the triple-double. Levine, he didn't play. He's going to remain out. You have this Lakers team coming off that loss to the Clippers. D'Lo and AD, both solid games. Obviously, LeBron did not play. He's questionable. Really hard to give you much more on this game without knowing what's going on with LeBron. Obviously, he means everything to the number. We'll say the lean is already to Chicago in this one. You had the Bulls who play this matchup pretty tough. They won 4 of the last 5 meetings, beat them earlier in Chicago this year, beat them in LA last year. And this Lakers team, they get Golden State next. Could be something they're catching a little bit. We'll see what happens with LeBron, but that's where this game's at. LeBron's in. Number goes up. Definitely much more interested in Chicago.
Yeah, we always make fun of the LeBron questionable, but obviously really questionable because he did miss the last game. So we'll see what's up with LeBron. Cam Reddish already ruled out for Chicago. Zach LaVine, he's missed the last couple of games. He's going to miss some more time. Remember, February 8th, that's the trade deadline. A lot of things going for both these teams, so anything can happen. Lakers, without LeBron, no, just not a match for the Clippers. Clippers had that double revenge before that. Look, the Lakers now 3-2 on this homestand. I'm going to consider the game against the Clippers also part of the homestand. So they've beaten some good teams, and then they lose a game to Brooklyn. You just don't know what you're going to get out of the Lakers. Bulls have been playing better ball. Only thing, they blow a 21-point lead in that last game against what we saw last night is starting to become a red-hot Phoenix team. Bulls have done well in this matchup. They won the early meeting in Chicago. They won at the Lakers last year. Let's see if LeBron is in, but there would have to be a lean to the Bulls for me, a slight lean to the Bulls for me if they've got everybody on the floor for them tonight.
Yeah, last game for a long trip for the Lakers. 6-game trip coming up after this, so we'll see if they end the homestand on a positive. That's the NBA slate tonight, guys. We got 2 bets already out to members with a pretty solid edge on both games. Really nice with Boston. You guys know those 2 sides, and there could definitely be more added later tonight. Big questionables, as always, in the NBA. Injuries. If you guys want updates as the day goes on, or you guys want bets as we add them, sign up on the app Massa Edge or go to massaedge.com, become a member there. John, we've got a pretty good week here. Things turning our way a little bit, picking up steam before the deadline and the All-Star break. Hopefully we can keep it going tonight.
Yes, and I just want my guys to stay patient. First of all, if you're a watcher of the YouTube every day, so during the afternoon when we shot this, we had no bets. Phoenix was a late bet. We've got to know the injuries. There's a million scamdicap, as we call them out there. They'll be happy to give you any team without even knowing who's in the lineup. That's not how you bet sports. So it was, I guess, maybe a half hour before game time when we finally got our lineups in and we sent out our bet. Patience, guys. And for the guys for my Massa Edge guys, the rest of you guys won't know, but if you really need something, I guess we can look for Noah McCuty's hockey bets if you need something to get on. But really, try to be disciplined. We're going to give you bets that we feel that there's an edge on. Anything else, you're just gambling. And we don't gamble here. We try to look at it as investing. When we're beating the number, like today, look, the Celtics might lose the game outright. We've got at least a 2-point edge. If you laid 5.5 when we sent out the bet yesterday, get at least a 2-point edge. That's what we want to do day in, day out, and we'll make money by the end of the season.
Beat the number, beat the game, and you can beat the number with us here at the Massa Edge. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the podcast Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow. We're going to touch a little bit on some NFL conference championship games coming up this weekend. And as always, like, comment, subscribe below. Let's make some money, John.
And also check us out Mondays and Fridays. We'll do Instagram Live at noon Eastern, and you can hit us with questions and interact or even tap in, and we'll check you guys out then. And yeah, hey, let's make some money.